If you suspect that you're a highly sensitive person, but you haven't really been able to get your head around the idea that you need to be an introvert because you've always thought of yourself as an extrovert, then you want to watch today's video. Because chances are that you are a highly sensitive extrovert, and that's what I want to get into in this video. To help you identify if you are an extroverted, highly sensitive person. And I think it's an important distinction to make, because if you can understand that the conflict that you're experiencing inside yourself, which is what I'll get to into this video, if you can understand that this conflict that you're experiencing is as a result of your high sensitivity and your extroversion, you can begin to kind of marry the two and then find a way to make it work for you. If this is the first time that you're watching one of my videos and you're new to my channel, hi, welcome. My name is Tertia and I help highly sensitive people and empaths find their place in the world. To make it a little bit easier to follow along, I'm going to do a quick review of what it means to be a highly sensitive person, and then we'll talk a little bit about what introversion and extroversion means, and then finally I want to share with you 5 signs to help you figure out or decide whether you are indeed a highly sensitive extrovert. If you are not 100% sure about this whole high sensitivity trait, let's just quickly talk about this. And I'm not going to go into it too deeply because I have other videos which I'll link to in the description box below. Highly sensitive people have a super sensitive nervous system. We were born with a highly sensitive nervous system, and what it means is that we tend to process information deeply, so we think deeply about things. It means that we are quite sensitive to the information around us, to the subtleties in our environment, so we're quite aware of things that other people might not pick up. We are very empathetic, which means that we cry easily. And then finally, because we process information so deeply and because we take in all of this information around us and from our environment, we can get overwhelmed quickly by novel things. What's important to know here is that the brains of highly sensitive people work differently to the brains of non-sensitive people. So it's not a disorder, there's nothing wrong with you and there's nothing that needs to be fixed or cured or anything like that. It's just the way that your brain works, and it's an innate trait, which means that we are born like this. So we don't get made like this, through our life experiences. We are really born with this trait of high sensitivity. Now, in terms of a numbers game, we are by far in the minority because only 15 to 20% of the population are highly sensitive people. That's about 1 in 5 people. And I can understand why a lot of times we are so misunderstood and why our sensitivity is often criticized or judged because we are so much in the minority, and this is a relatively new field of research. So I'm happy that people are starting to learn more about sensitivity and it's becoming more mainstream, but I think for a very long time this hasn't been the case. All right, so now let's move over to introversion extroversion. What does it mean to be an introvert or an extrovert? An introvert gets energized by spending time with themselves, where an extrovert gets energized by spending time with other people, by engaging with other people. You can probably see the challenge here that as a highly sensitive person, you need that alone time, but as an extrovert, you need to spend time with people. And we make up only about 30% of the highly sensitive population. So that's a teeny tiny percentage of us that are extroverts. And I think that's maybe why we've been overlooked a little bit, because if you look at social media, if you look at all of the things that are written and spoken about high sensitivity, I feel like a lot of it is aimed and targeted really at the introverted, highly sensitive person. And those of us that are definitely a lot more extroverted kind of don't always know if we are then really highly sensitive, because there are things there that just that's just not like us, because we like to go to places and experience new things and spend time with people, and we like to engage in group activities or social activities, which is not really always the case with the description that we have about what it means to be a highly sensitive person. So now let's talk about 5 signs to tell whether you are a highly sensitive extrovert. So the first sign is that you enjoy being on your own and you really feel recharged when you spend time in contemplation or you spend time thinking about things. But if you are alone for too long at a period of time, then you begin to feel restless and you can feel unmotivated and lethargic, and you might even feel a little bit depressed if you spend too much time on your own. And then what you do is you go and look for engagement and social activities. But then the conflict comes in again, because as soon as you begin to engage in this, if you're not careful, then you become overwhelmed and you need to retreat again. And I think the main difference here between the introverted, highly sensitive person and the extroverted, highly sensitive person is that introverts really love spending time on their own. They don't even think about anything else. It's just something that they enjoy doing so much. Where for the extroverted, highly sensitive person, it's not so much about that they love it, they do, but it's more about it's a necessity for them to recharge. If they don't do that alone time, which is not quite typical for extroverted people, but if the highly sensitive extrovert don't do that alone time, it really begins to affect them negatively, where they struggle to process all of the things that are happening in their lives, and they really begin to struggle with feeling overwhelmed and overstimulated. So the second sign that you might be a highly sensitive extrovert is something which you will be able to maybe identify in your own life, and that is that you enjoy going to events, but you are the person who always leaves first. So you are the one who always leaves early. And I know this was definitely the case for me when my kids were younger, and I used to participate in these mommy baby groups or mommy toddler groups. I used to enjoy being there, but I could only stand it for a little while, and then I was always the first one to leave. And that also used to fill me with conflict, because you're afraid that you're going to miss out, and it's not nice to, think that you're now going and everyone else is still having a good time. But I just couldn't stay there for, or rather as long as some of the other moms used to. And when I began to learn about my high sensitivity, it started making sense that I wasn't antisocial. It was just that I reached a level of overstimulation and overwhelm, and it was time then for me to just retreat a little bit. When we talk about the highly sensitive person and the things that you usually read about them, it seems that all highly sensitive people enjoy writing and journaling and writing these deep, long, heartfelt novels. And this is another sign that you are a highly sensitive person who is also an extrovert. And that is if you prefer to talk about your problems and verbally express the things that is going on in your mind, as opposed to, writing it out. You might find that you might jot down a couple of things and just make a few notes to kind of order what's going on in your mind, but you definitely feel a lot more relief and get more insight when you talk about what's going on for you, as opposed to just simply writing it down in a journal and expressing it in that way. So the fourth sign is that you crave new experiences. You want to experience new and novel things, but you don't want to risk yourself doing it. And this is quite challenging, because a lot of times people might see you as a spoilsport, because you don't really want to participate in all of these dangerous things, even though it is something that you're craving. And I know my husband always teases me. He calls me the health and safety officer because I'm always, breaking. So as much as I want to participate and engage in these new experiences and try out different things, I don't want to do it in a way that's going to alarm or overwhelm my nervous system, my sensitive nervous system. That's why it's so important for you to learn not only about your trait of being a highly sensitive person, but also to identify if you are an extrovert or an introvert and a highly sensitive person at the same time. Because there really is it's not such a big distinction in the highly sensitive person or in the HSP community, but there's still a difference. And if you don't know that you are actually an extrovert, even though you're HSP, you can really experience all of this conflict of when you want to try new things, if you want to do things and participate in activities that's going to honor that extroverted part of you, but the highly sensitive part of you goes, no ways, break, be careful, watch out. And then the final step, or the final thing rather, that sign that can tell you that you're a highly sensitive person is if you are the soul of the party and then all of a sudden you crash and burn. You enjoy being in the company of other people. You like spending time in social activities or in social surroundings. And you are funny, you're engaging, you enjoy speaking to people, you're a very good listener, so you like to really connect with people. And then all of a sudden you go from 100 to 0 and you hit a brick wall. And I think this is what's interesting and also a little bit contradictory about the highly sensitive extrovert, because while we're engaging with people and while we are having fun, our nervous system is processing all of this information and we are still becoming overstimulated, and that is why it can feel like you're hitting a brick wall. You're able to engage and then all of a sudden it's just like boom, total shutdown. And when you know this about yourself, if you know that you burn out quickly despite having a good time, then you'll be able to pull back before you hit that wall. And you'll be able to learn how to manage your energy better so that you can still, participate in these things and honor your extroverted side, but honor the highly sensitive side of you as well that needs to withdraw before it becomes overstimulated. And I think I've said it before, but I'm saying it again because I think it's so vital for us to live, if we want to live healthy and balanced and satisfying lives as highly sensitive people, we need to understand how to manage our own energy. It is our responsibility to figure out how can we best fit into what is already existing in a world in a way that allows us to thrive. And the more you learn about your trait, the more you're going to be able to do that. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these 5 signs resonated with you the most, and are you a highly sensitive extrovert? Let me know in the comments below. I'm also going to leave a link for you in the description box below. You can click on the link. It will take you through to my website where you can book a session with me. And this is to support you to discover your gifts, embrace everything about yourself as a highly sensitive person, and find your place in the world. Knowing that I'm a highly sensitive extrovert has really helped me to accept and love this sensitive part of myself. And I think that is crucial, because with self-acceptance, we can bring our shadow parts into the light, and it really supports us in our core healing, which is the ultimate answer, I think, to a satisfying and peaceful life. If you've enjoyed this video, then please let me know by giving it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, then please subscribe. Also, if you've been following me for a while and you haven't subscribed yet, then please go on and hit the subscribe button. Also, share this video with a highly sensitive friend who you think will benefit from it. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.